Hello folks, this is Spoon TV and I'm Sylvester Chirople, His Excellency President Boakai is signing the performance contract meant for government agencies, ministries, and to track their performances. So this will serve as a monitoring or evaluation for the work of ministries, agencies, all officials of government. So His Excellency President Boakai will today sign that performance contract report, and that will be used as a tool to evaluate the workings of agency, ministry, and other institutions of the national government. So there you have His Excellency President Boakai. No, go up there. You come by yourself. Funny.
Why Murray Johnson? If I you and Tusha go to same posting inside
So folks, again, welcome. His Excellency President Boakai is signing the 2025 performance contract. This contract is meant for the office of the president to evaluate the workings of various ministries, agencies, and all institutions. So the president will be using this biannually to be able to attract the working of officials of government, of course. And this is the president's own way of making sure that he holds accountable leaders he has appointed in public offices, and to see the real working and what they all want to see happening for the country. So stay with us as we bring you this live coverage here at the EJS Ministerial Complex. As we go along, we will get to know exactly how the office of the president and those who are responsible for tracking the responsibilities and duties of various ministry agencies, how are they going to do that, and to making sure that ministries work very hard in achieving the arrest agenda of the Unity Party government. So stay with us as we bring you this program from the EJS Ministerial Complex in Congo Town, Monrovia. Because then I'll go down there.
Yeah, you do go down there.
Yes.
Well, we can't use that.
Yes. So there you have officials of the Liberian government here posted already. So, like we said, folks, we are about to bring you the importance of this performance contrast ceremony. One of the primary reasons is to use this to hold accountable leaders. That's the accountability aspect, to hold ministers, agency heads directly accountable for delivering on key government priorities and targets. Another one is about transparency. The public can better track what each ministry or agency has committed to and measure whether those promises are fulfilled. And then very key important is that the performance monitoring. The office of the president will be able to use to enable systematic tracking of progress, identify institutions that are performing well and those falling short. So it's one of the means the office of the president will be able to use in performance monitoring. And then key elements of the performance contract is to improve service delivery. Agencies are motivated to improve agency or efficiency and responsive to meet their obligations. And of course, this contract serves as an evidence-based decision making. Of course, it will serve as an evidence-based decision making. Data gathering for contract implementation can guide policy shifts or support decisions to reshuffle or replace undermining leaders. And that's one of the ways the office of the president, the office of the president will be able to use this contract well in tracking the workings or performance of ministries and agencies. And of course, it also serves as an encouragement of result-oriented culture. All right, and it also promotes public trust and confidence. So, as the president signed this contract, Liberians will now be able to look forward to see how agency, ministries, and other government institutions will perform, and how the office of the president will hold accountable those offices, and using this means. So once the president comes in, the program will immediately commence. We see dignitaries entering the hall. Scores of government ministries, heads are already seated, awaiting the president to begin this all-important program.
So the President good afternoon from the Energy Ministry of Complex. The business team is still being this is
So as you can see, it has
program today, a word of prayer, as we call on the religious advisor, Reverend Wilfred, Prophet Wilfred Langford, who will come up and open up the mouth with a prayer.
Our Father, we recognize your presence and even your purpose in our life and our nation. Today we submit to your authority and to your sovereignty. We submit, O God, to your purpose. And pray, Father, that you will bless this administration, this people, that we will face the challenges of life, O God, but that we will endure because of you. So we endeavor, O God, to walk the path of righteousness, the path of truth. Today, even as we congregate to look ahead, we pray, Lord, that your grace will cover us, will guide us, will lead us to your honor and to your glory. In Jesus' name.
Thank you. Please be seated. So it's good to see all of you here this afternoon, and thank you for being on time. Thank you for coming early. You know, the president often talks about WAIT, West African International Time, and be glad that you're very patient. You know, as earlier I was passing through saying hello to several of my colleagues, and I don't know why it had to be a financial intelligent man, but he called me and said, Steve, I think, you know, we're here for performance contract signing. I think we need a performance contract on time management. I said, so you want to see the president? He said, no, that's what I'm talking about. And he sought to convince me that time is money. And so we value your time, and we thank you for your patience while you waited for us to get started. The president came to office and made a number of promises. One of those promises was that we would deliver on the promises. And our people are saying that when the town crier does a good job, everyone is happy. Everyone gets the message. And so, in order for the message to get out and get across, we all have to do our job. And one way to make sure we do our job is to sign a commitment. And that commitment is reviewed from time to time, just to remind us of areas needing improvement or to commend us that the case will be when we're doing so very well, as we often do in this administration. And so it is a pleasure to have you all here this afternoon for a report on the first phase of our performance management contract. How did we do? So this afternoon is not about speeches and handshakes, as important as those will be, but just to remind all of us of our continuing commitment to the Liberian people as espoused by His Excellency, the President, through ERS Agenda for Inclusive Development. And having said that, let me now invite to the microphone the Director General of the Cabinet, Honorable Nat Kwabo, who will come and give us an overview of the performance management contract system and also speak briefly about how we did the first round. Let's welcome Honorable Kwabo.
Thank you. Let me see. Welcome, Mr. President, colleagues. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and guests of institutions. I would like to go quickly through an overview of the PACS for the 2024 cycle. I used to know what they are. And we're going to go with this. I'm trying to do this one thing. Next slide. Of course, it is the president's action initiative. The president always said that he, when his ministers and health institutions to perform, therefore, we took this exercise very seriously. And it's also a way of approaching ourselves to the public, because it is a way of self-assessment of your stewardship, which is a good thing. To never work hard to deliver good service. Therefore, of course, it's also aligned with the arrest at the board as president. They cannot be broke. Because the PAC is basically a result. We want the result-oriented government. So if we assess ourselves, we are accountable to the public on our stewardship. We are more or less the result-oriented government. And of course, this exercise also establishes public trust in the government itself, because the public knows exactly what we are doing, which is serving the public, and therefore it builds the trust that we establish. So it's a two process. One, we have the bottom-up approach, which is the people's voice, and that project is called the citizen feedback mechanism, where citizens will dial a short code and vote on the phone to tell us exactly what is changing about the country in terms of service, in terms of development. That enables us, President, and those in government, to respond with more responsive to service. Then there is the next system, which is the performance management compliance system. Okay. That is where we assess ourselves as a politician government, as institutions, in a way that we establish the different protocols that we must use to provide the service that we need as a country to the people. Yes. So let me give you a brief overview of the 2024 PMC cycle. We started in October and ended in March this year. Our first cycle focused on just two fundamental targets. So every ministry was asked to set the targets. One is the development and publication of the service delivery charter. Service delivery charter is exactly what we mandated to do and what your agency is required to do in terms of the service that you need to deliver to the So you get initial help, explain staff, initial transport, those services that we provide to people. What we clearly explain or our charter in the service delivery charter. Then the next point is how you strengthen your internal systems to implement this charter. So you need to build internal systems that will enable you to implement the standard of the charter. That will enable you actually have how services line up in your mind. And so let's go back. So at the end of the day, you sign a contract with just these two targets. And remember, just a bit. So we didn't want to burden people with so many targets, just initial targets to test the water. And so people sign those contracts with the president. Yes. So what have we achieved so far since we began this in October last? Of course, there was a presidential directive issued requiring institutions to adopt the PMCs by October. By November, 94 institutions were trained on setting smart targets, with 284 persons who lead the different institutions to lead the implementation of the 2024 PMC study. By December, 90 institutions signed on a contract with excellent. And by February 2025, we had 3 monetary initiatives with the field verification of how you were implementing the service delivery charter and the spending of the internal system. Within February, the high-level delegation went on a study tour to Sierra Leone to learn from how they have institutionalized performance within their country. And that delegation was comprised of the Minister of Finance, the CS, the Governance Commission, and the capital secretary. Next slide. So, what is the scope and participation of the first side? We had 19 institutions participating, fully setting their targets and undergoing annual appraisal. We had 80 plus institutions actually doing their service delivery target, developed and published service delivery target. And we had 3 verification teams doing independent assessment across all participating institutions. You have multi-PLC group comprising the Cabinet Office, the Ministry of Finance, the DC, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the IAA, and the CSA. So, how did it look across the slide? So, for the 7th delivery chapter, we had 61% of those involved, 67.8% of those involved after development. And 5 doing one version, because the chapter 1 chapter itself, they do an abridged version. And there were others who just did one version. And just 6% did neither version. And the reason for that is the new system. So we understand how it took some time for people to actually account and better to the system. Next slide. Now, in terms of publication, if you go around the world, you see a lot of big holes, for different agencies and institutions, actually directed to showcase their service was required. Because it was years ago, what future service you provide to the public. And those who did full publication among them with 2%, partial publication 2%, and no publication now. Again, we don't want to be responsible for this because it is a new project. Next. So in terms of the internal strengthening system, strengthening the internal system, this is what we have. In fact, more than half of the entities were able to develop 3 systems or more. Next slide. Now, see the detailed analysis of systems and processes. And you can tell from this that human resources actually had the biggest number in terms of how systems to implement their matrix. Financial management is at 57%, which is good because in that sector, most of them undergo QuickBooks implementation and develop financial manuals and internal controls. So this is good news. I thought. So we've done a great job since this was just the beginning. Next slide. So what are the key outcomes of what we have done so far? We noticed that it was improved financial reporting time frames from 60 plus days to just 30 days in the 3 institutions. Reduced financial process errors by an average of 45% in institutions implemented QuickBooks. So those who implemented QuickBooks actually reduced financial process errors. So it's an achievement, it's progress. Then in terms of enhancing transparency and compliance with the Public Financial Management Act requirement, there were others who also required this one. So what are the next steps after this first cycle? So the new target setting process started a few months ago. And by this time, we thought that institutions should set targets that are clearly aligned with the AAI. Because in the next 5 years, we implemented the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Governance flashing development. So we require all institutions to develop targets that are aligned with the AI. So the first step will be developing a strategic plan. And we know that a lot of people develop plans. But those who already did, we ask them to review their plans and align them with the AI. Because for those strategic plans are between 3 and 5 years. And if you do your plan for 5 years, then obviously it's within the time frame of the AI So if you did it without aligning it with the AID, work with you to do that. So all institutions were required to develop plans and align them to the AID. So that is what we done this cycle, this year. And then the next target was to implement the service delivery target, which is your core function in management. So you develop internal systems. But now you want to make sure that developing your internal systems will be aligned with actually implementing the service delivery target to the fullest. Then we also agreed to set another target where you'll be asked to mobilize resources, especially when institutions are raising funding. But if you don't raise funding, normally as part of the plan, you are required to be innovative in a way you can raise resources to help the project demand. In that way, you don't depend too much on government. I understand that the funding landscape is a little bit shaky for now, but we ask entities who have the capacity to ensure that they can raise resources. So the next target that we ask entities to set is assistant efficiency. And this is key, especially for those who are dealing with the economic sector. We want you to efficiently set up the systems to identify the leakages, fraud, or risk, implement solutions to resolve it. And I think as I speak, I'm looking at my man from LR, who's doing a fantastic job by the way. Then finally, you are required to build your institutional capacity. So you should identify areas where you build your capacity to improve institutional performance. So these are the targets that we set for each entity for which you be signing a contract with the president. Okay, these are the timelines that we set over the last few months in terms of how much we support. Next slide. So looking ahead, we now can see that the PMCS is now improving to performance, accountability, and transparency. The 2024 cycle showed clear gains. Now is the time for us to build on progress. 2025 targets require deeper commitment and stronger institutional leadership. That is where I ask heads of institutions to be personally involved in this process. Because we want a structured way, to be able to deliver service to that people. We don't want it to be a static approach. We want it to be a system-based approach, an evidence-based approach. And we also think that all institutions must prioritize implementation and measurable outcomes. So we need to lead with purpose, deliver with purpose, and serve with impact. This is our country. This is a new thing. The president and I always say that we inherited a system whether we like it or not.
Get a book and shoot.
Okay. And it behooves us as a new government to turn things around. Thank you so much.
Mr. Nathaniel Kwabu is the Director General of the Cabinet. Done with presentation.
Is housed in the offices of the Director General, and he has a whole team of people that support him. So please take advantage of what he and his staff have to offer. So if you turn to page next page of the program. Oh, you're not getting on? Sorry, I can't end it. When you're not divided, very small. So let us give a quick pause, and we will help share those so you can follow. But next on the program, as soon as you get your copy, you will see that His Excellency the President will be coming up to give us the presidential address on the 2024 ELCS. However, before it comes up, we just want to recognize the services and contributions of our international partners and everything they did to help us get to this point. We recognize the United Nations organization in Liberia, the resident representative of the UNDP, the African Development Bank, the World Bank, country office, ECOWAS, the EU, of course, the Swedish embassy, the German embassy, the Irish embassy, among other international partners. We thank you immensely for your many, many contributions that have guided this process and prepared us to deliver on His Excellency's promises to the Liberian people. I think by now most of you, if not all of you, have copies. That's enough. Sorry, we're just holding on to them. And after His Excellency's remarks, we will set aside a time to recognize our top performing public institutions. The President will be recognizing you by presenting you award plaques. And we hope and believe that you will cherish those immensely. Pastor Benedict,
The President will now make a special remark followed by the signing of this performance contract.
Members, President, Cabinet, my four development partners, public corporations, government agencies, functions, the Honorable Lord Monrovia, members of the State Council, greetings, members of the clergy, as commanders of the military and paramilitary forces, former officials of the government, greetings, members of the clergy, members of the press, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasing to this time to present to you His Excellency Joseph Boakai, President of the Republic Thank you. Cabinet ministers, heads of institutions, members of the diplomatic corps, and government partners, members of the civil society, the media, fellow citizens. This moment signifies the global step of our national commitment to accountability, transparency, and citizen-centered governance. Through the performance management and compliance system, we are transitioning from promises to performance, from input to impact, from excuses to excellence. Aligned with our address agenda, the PMCA guarantees that institutions provide clear services, maintain integrity, and stay accountable to the people. We're here today not only to celebrate the result of his intervention, but also to institutionalize a new culture of
delivery across government. This is a legacy that we hope to leave as mere people. The government that works, and that works for them. Today's event comes with great reflection and recommitment. For the first time in our nation's history, we have completed a full national performance management circle across our public sector. The outcome of this process gave us the cause for both celebration and reflection. We applaud those institutions that perform exceptionally. And we recognize the dedication, discipline, and leadership it took to meet, and in some cases exceed, the expectations outlined in last year's performance target. These targets were the government publication of service delivery chart by each institution and strengthening of internal systems to implement these charters. These institutions demonstrated clear planning, strengthened systems, and visible service improvement. They have set a benchmark for performance that others must now meet or exceed. Fellow years, our journey toward performance-based governance was bold, but also fair. The data we now have tells a compelling story, one of progress, but also areas where we must do better. This was the first full national hearing circle. It's a historic undertaking of our government. Many institutions rose to the target. However, it is important to know that a number of institutions were not able to fully participate or meet the core requirements. This is acceptable. But to some extent, we want to say that some of them were taken off guard, and we hope they'll do better. At the same time, we recognize that the first year has been a learning process for many. The system is new, but equally prepared. I want to make it clear, the record, that moving forward standard will even be higher. Institutions that do not engage meaningfully in future cycles will keep taking account consistent with the mechanism built in the preeminence. For this cycle, institutions that did not comply will be placed on a presidential performance improvement plan, PBIP. This will provide targeted support, structured performance monitoring, and clear timelines for corrective actions. We're also going to introduce temporary travel criteria for institutions with persistent non-compliance. It is important that public servants deliver on the basic national obligations before representing Liberia abroad. And that's another fact. During our campaign, we did say that we have a requirement that ministers in strategic position must have the opportunity to visit any part of the country before they travel, because we have to know who we're going to represent. Unfortunately, of course, the road conditions are not proper. But this moratorium will only be lifted when undocumented evidence of improvement of performance from now carry both recognition and responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, we are entering a new era. One in which performance is no longer an aspiration,
an obligation. As part of this shift, later today, we witnessed the ceremonial signing of 2025 performance contract. Let me say here, these contracts are not ceremonial documents. They are instruments of public trust. They represent each institution's commitment, not to me, but to the people of Liberia. But we must also ensure these commitments are resourced and realistic. And therefore direct the Minister of Finance and Development Planning to fully integrate PMC and deliverables into the national budgeting framework. No performance plan should sit on the shelf because of funding gaps. Budget allocations must be what they will do. Additionally, we are accelerating the digital transformation of the PMC. By the end of this year, we will finalize and begin rolling out the performance management information system, PMS, as a centralized real-time platform to track institutional target, compliance rates, and service outcomes. This will be the engine behind one government, one dashboard, where performance can be monitored, analyzed, disclosed with integrity. Our direction is clear. Our tools are in place. Our expectations are non-negotiable. This is not about reporting for reporting's sake. It is about making sure that the public sector means something and that it delivers something. I know a lot of people come to public sector because they think it's very easy. All you do, go back your time and go home. We have to change that. Against this background, I must know that I will soon begin to unscheduled visits to institutions. Many will be unannounced for a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities as well as to demonstrate our commitment to institutional effectiveness and accountability. Let me pause to thank the General Services for giving this building a public. I felt a little bit embarrassed that we've been entrusted with a valuable real estate, and we should respect it. Our keeping it. Thank you very much. I don't know how you done, but all ministries in here are confusing. My concern is not about that, it's about making sure. Okay. I remember when I used to come around here and oh, this is later. That's not the best way to go. The culture of performance we speak is not be built through directives alone. It must be more through the decisions you make, the standards you enforce, the example you set. I told the minister yesterday, some of you inherited a lot of people who may not have the commitment, but you have a responsibility that you're talking about. You can replace it. Not only to ensure that the institution becomes a part of delivery. Use your service delivery chart, that a public relationship, or as a living contract with the people. To the citizens of Liberia, this is your government, and you have a right to expect results We are building a system where you can see what each institution has committed to and hold them accountable when those promises are unmet. You can go on Facebook and criticize, but your eyes can see. Our development partners, especially the United Kingdom, but thank you for your steadfast support. You have been joining the technical, financial, and overall investment have been critical to the progress we report today. I encourage you to continue aligning your support with the national performance agenda. I have made it clear that this is a responsible government. We respect the opinions of our people, but trust us. We will manage this country with the best of reliability and reputation. Let us deepen our collaboration, not just around funding, but around measurable, sustainable results. And finally, to all our leaders, let us move forward with clarity, with courage, and with commitment toward a Liberia where every institution is accountable, every leader is responsible, and every citizen is served with dignity. Let us think, love, build Liberia. May God bless us.
His Excellency President Boakai. Very good.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for your wonderful remarks. We, as Max